The LiLoHia Project is sponsored and brought to you by drlaura.live. With her, FruxTM, Music and Play, George Canyon, Krista Hermanson, and Terry McCallum. Original art and motion graphics by Malcom Carter, Chronos Global Media.
Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Laura and I'm absolutely honored and in awe to be around this company that I am, present company, on an exciting project called the LiLoHia Project, which we're going to learn about, hear about. I myself, an organizational psychologist, a podcast host, a speaker, an author, have been on my own journey, and my own spiritual healing journey has been a wonderful and fantastic adventure and growth in my life. Thanks to my good friend here, Gerald, Auger, and we also have Sass, Jordan, and George Canyon, and their introductions could take a full encyclopedia, but what I'm going to do is do a brief introduction of each of these lovely souls who are trying to make a difference in what I would say is a challenging world right now. There's a lot of challenge going on, a lot of turbulence out there, and it's a challenge for the human race to grow and to thrive and to be optimistic and to make a difference. And that's what these three human beings are trying to do, as well as myself, to do my own small part through my Where Work Meets Life podcast and the work I'm doing to bring awareness and light to the LiLoHia Project, which is around love, light, and gratitude, with this beautiful logo here. Again, you're going to learn a lot through this informative series, which will be shared widely. And so I'll start with Gerald Auger sitting beside me. I've met Gerald, I met him about maybe 5 years ago or so. COVID's always tough with math, but let's just say 5 or 6 years. And he's become what I consider a brother to me. And I'm really grateful for Gerald in my life. He's of Woodland Cree descent. He's a national Indigenous role model, spiritual leader, award-winning storyteller. He's been working with Hollywood in the past for 20 years. He was with Hollywood, and then he got called back to his land, where he took a break in 2009 to heal from childhood trauma of residential schools, and he walked the wilderness for a 6-year sabbatical. He's reconnected with his creator through that experience, his ancestors, his elders, and he is widely sharing these messages as part of his journey. So thank you for being here.
Thank you, sister.
So next in line we have Sass Jordan, Canada's queen of rock and blues. So I grew up, I came of age listening to music in the 80s, but especially the 90s. I mean, those were the years of my teens and dating and, getting out and listening to music. And Sass was definitely a part of that. She has had a prolific career, over 4 decades, over 4 decades of a career in music, and she's won multiple awards, including Juno, Billboard. She's sold over 1 million records worldwide. It's probably more than that now. And she also was a judge for a number of years on Canadian Idol. Among other things, she is a spiritual teacher, and she's evolving to share her spiritual journey and to help others grow spiritually as a spiritual artist. So combining her art with spiritual growth. Okay, so George Canyon. George Canyon, one of Canada's hottest country music stars. He really came of age in country music in the 2000s. In the early 2000s, he's won countless accolades, including Juno Awards, CCMA Awards, ECMA Awards, lots of acronyms, meaning he's awesome at country music. He has won the fans of country music fans globally. And what I really admire about you, George, is your humility. You're just a humble human being who's first and foremost a husband to Jen, and I've had the pleasure of meeting Jen, your amazing daughter, Maddie, your son, Cale, and you are a humanitarian. You've done incredible work to help children with diabetes. You're a supporter of the military. You're trying to make a difference through spiritual healing and sharing your own journey with others.
Thank you. It's hard to listen to all that.
Well,
I'm cringing over here.
I know you're cringing.
It's George. Yeah, leave it at that. There you go. We're done. Yeah.
There's other things I've missed for all three of you, but I think I got the basics. I think I got the appetizers in the menu.
Oh, yeah. That's fine. That's good.
And so what we're going to do, first of all, I'm going to ask each of your perspectives on why you were brought together. I mean, each of you have amazing careers, etc., but you're sitting here today on this LiLoHia project. What brought each of you here? We're going to start with you, Gerald.
Ni stabit ni gang siman to na skuma ni hiobix kwa ni gami uksima do bixun lagi mi. Mabung gaki gam ni gan style gami mam skuchigan. Thank you, sister, for that. And I've spoken my Woodland Cree language because that's the language the Creator had blessed me with. And I always need to honor that part of my human being when I acknowledge my fellow human beings. And I acknowledge and thank Creator first for allowing us to be here today. So why LiLoHia is I live in a world, I look at the world through a spiritual lens. And I believe that everything and everyone crosses your path for a reason and will serve a purpose. And that this and you becoming my newfound sister as well was predestined in time. And the world is waking up to a different way of knowing. And that we're going from a place of faith, of wanting to believe, to knowing that there's a global shift in consciousness happening right now. And that I've been honored and blessed to cross paths and walk with my sister Sass and brother George, and that it's been amazing working with fellow artists, me being a storyteller. That being an artist for me, I believe, is that we're tapped into a different realm, dimension at times, and it's all the same source, but it's really bringing that love, light, and unity to the world. And I believe that we're in a time of the prophecy of the artist, where one of our indigenous leaders said people will sleep for 100 years. And when they awake, it'll be the artists who will give them back their spirit. And lo and behold, the LiLoHia came about, and here we are.
That's incredible. That's incredible. Thank you, Gerald. What about you, Sass? Why you're brought here?
Well, I've always been really interested in things that you couldn't necessarily see with your physical eyes, and why I would feel a certain way in a certain location, why I would feel certain things about people when their mouth was saying one thing, but I was getting a totally different vibration, and also because I've worked in the entertainment business for 5,622 years, I'm starting to get a little bit more aware of the story behind the story, so to speak. And I think when the whole COVID thing hit, and we all had to take a break and sit there and sort of figure out who the heck we were, and I realized that if I was gonna get through the rest of my life, shall we say, whatever it will be, or however long it will be, that I was going to have to start paying far more attention to that side of me, the side of me that is in communion with Creator, with perhaps unseen team, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I wanted to find ways, practical ways, to navigate this new terrain that we're all faced with. It's like a science fiction movie that we're in right now. You know what I mean? And it's like, what were we saying earlier, brother? We were saying it's like we're pioneers in a new territory, in a new terrain. Not just us, all of us, and we're all trying to find our way through with some kind of dignity and some kind of grace and some kind of solid feeling about the ephemeral. I hope I'm not being a little too wordy there, but you know what I mean? Like something that is something that is actually going to last, because we aren't as physical beings. Anyways, that's enough for now. I'm passing the baton to my friend George.
Well.
You're like, wow.
Wow.
Yeah. I like tacos.
Quick, Metallowan, and my apologies to my Mi'kmaq brothers and sisters for my terrible accent speaking Mi'kmaq, but I'm honored to say what little words I have been learning. I have always had faith in the Creator. Call the Creator whatever feels best for you to call the Creator. I've called the Creator God, Yahweh, but I've always had that faith and that strong sense of He's always been there for me and taught me, and Yeshua, Jesus, but I knew there was something else I needed. I wasn't connecting all the dots, and about 7 years ago, my uncles finally put it all together in discovery of our Mi'kmaq heritage. And two of my great-grandmas were full Mi'kmaq, but it was hidden from us. It was hidden from my uncles to a degree. It was especially hidden from us children, because my great-aunt, who finally came forward and started talking about it, they were so, bullied and beat up, and they were referred to as half-bloods and half-breeds. And my uncle said she told him it was actually worse than being Indigenous, because both groups treated them equally unfairly, because they didn't really belong to either. And that's why it was hidden from us. And over the last 7 years, I've learned more and more, and I'm trying to learn more and more. But I'm always a very big proponent of letting Yahweh, God, the Creator's plans happen for you. So I pray that every day, that His plans for my family are first and foremost, and lo and behold, He puts Brother Gerald in our path, but in the Creator's time, not in my time. Because when I first met you 2 years ago, I would have been like, okay, because I was so excited to learn about Indigenous heritage and my heritage, and I wanted to get a hold of you right away, and can we sit down and talk? And none of that happened. It was all in the Creator's time, and now it has since happened, and we're learning so much, and I just I treasure every moment of it. Is it a deep dive? Yes. Is it a lot to swallow? Yes. But the fantastic thing is, and everybody's this way, I don't care who you are, you know when you know. You know when you know. There's something inside you that will say, this is correct. You're on the path. And it doesn't matter where your belief is or where your faith is and what part of the ladder of faith I call it. You know when you know, and I really feel that. And getting to be a part of this is such an honor for me.
Beautifully put. And wow, the history that you have, and that
I like
you've
to talk too.
He's not quiet after all.
Sorry.
What a history, though. And what a period of growth. I mean, COVID, for all its ugliness, was a period of mass awakening
It was.
in the world, wasn't it?
Exactly.
And for artists,
yes,
shows were canceled, concerts were off, etc. So in terms of your own growth, that was quite a period for your spiritual awareness and your art as well, right?
Unfortunately, some went the other way.
Absolutely.
It was absolute
Absolutely.
depression to the state of suicidal thoughts. And I heard the stories. And then to some, they left the music business and will never go back.
Oh, wow.
Because their fear now, and once again, fear coming into play, is that we get hit with another pandemic and they have to re-experience that pain of not knowing where they belong anymore. Because for a lot of artists and musicians, it's just because you're not playing for somebody on stage doesn't mean you're not making music every day. And they didn't know what to do.
So,
Yeah, and for when it comes to film and television, because all these writers had all this time, now we're oversaturated with content, and that there's too much content now. So it's funny how that worked out, where we are oversaturated with content now, and people are pitching stories, films, and the networks and global streaming are saying, "Wow, we have too much." So yeah, it's quite interesting. It was almost the opposite, right? Huh? Wow.
I don't know. I think there's always too many of us.
Someone asked
I'm
you,
totally teasing.
how do I get into the music business?
Don't.
We don't need the competition.
any advice for following your career passion for music? Don't. Okay.
Don't go there.
I just think everything has to be reimagined. You know, like it can't be the old way, that old, we're talking about, you know, the industry that we've been in, the music industry, but it's the same, it's all entertainment, you know, and it's just, nothing can be the same. And I think that's really part of what we're doing together right here, these discussions that we're having is how do we navigate through this bizarre terrain. And it's not just entertainment, it's everything, you know? And especially from the spiritual perspective, which is what interests us, all of us here, you know?
And the conversation I have with George are the same conversation I have with Sass. And it's amazing that it's good to find other fellow human beings who are plugged in, who get it, who know, there is another side of life that we forgot, the world has forgotten. So it's good, like the gathering, I believe, is in motion right now. That's why the awakening is quickening for a reason right now, is because we're also in the age of Aquarius, right? So, and COVID was to send everybody home, is what the answer said. Everybody was sent home to think about what they did and what they didn't do. And then we all had to communicate on that black box, which is frequency and vibration. And what is the age of Aquarius is all about frequency and vibration. So we're all just being sent home to think about it, figure it out, what we need to do, and then being prepared emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually for this age of Aquarius as we emerge to the new world, hence LiLoHia, right? So for me,
that's the path, that's the map. Light, love, gratitude, in whatever combination it comes up, but that is our map. That's why we chose that.
Beautiful thing is, where there's light, there can't be darkness. Where there's love, there can't be hate. And where there's gratitude, there can't be sorrow.
That's
Beautiful.
I'm going to recruit you, brother.
Recruit me? Bud, you're stuck with me. You're not recruiting me. You can't get rid of me. I text Gerald about 20 times a day in an hour.
So these three were all cringing when I was reading their bios, right? So what that tells me actually is their egos aren't ruling them. And I'm seeing a lot of people, they're ruled by ego, and their identity is so entwined in what they've achieved or how much money they have and wealth and all of that. So when something like a pandemic happens, it just crushes their identity. And that's why I think we've seen a lot of people turn even more so to, drugs and alcohol, etc., just to numb that pain. And now we're in a mental health crisis.
Big time.
Yeah, and as a psychologist, I'm seeing that firsthand, and through our clients and the corporate world is struggling, I would say, and spirituality isn't let through the front door of corporations very often. And as an organizational psychologist, I'm just starting to dip my toe into this, into talking about spirituality in corporate North America.
So Dr. Laura, do you think that, I've wondered this in the corporate world because of course the business side of our music, do you think that it was suppressed, that there was a mental health issue that was suppressed and COVID became a magnifying glass that then brought it to light? Or was COVID something that started the mental health issue?
Oh no, it was going on well
so it was
before
being
that.
Suppressed.
Yeah. I'd say it was being suppressed, and then it's has it gotten worse? I would say, yeah, it's gotten worse, and it's more known and visual.
Well, the spiritual side of how we were told what COVID is about, because the world had forgotten two of the most important things in life, and that's their higher power, whoever that be, Buddha, Allah, God, Jesus, Creator, and they had forgotten about their fellow human being. And then the ancestors had said the 6 years in the wilderness is that there's going to come a time the world will fall to its knees. And when it falls to its knees, it will remember those two things, their higher power and their fellow human being. And in order for them to fall to their knees, they have to surrender and let go of their ego. So what does your mind hold? Is your ego, your mind, your mental health. So this is part of how, for me, we were as spiritual people who've been following this for years. We were finally said to ourselves and to each other, said, wow, they're finally getting it. Little Johnny Punch Clock and Little Sally Lunch Pail is finally getting what Moccasin Joe's been all about.
Oh, God.
Moccasin Joe.
Moccasin Joe.
I like it.
So that's
like
how
it.
I see it, right? So it's a beautiful, me and my sister, we always talk about we are living in the most beautiful, exciting time in humanity right now.
Indeed,
And
we
then
are.
So.
When you see
Absolutely.
it from the spiritual, through the spiritual glasses. Yeah.
And that's the only way to see it.
Well,
That's what
and
we're here to
there's
talk
the
about,
peace
right?
that you find,
Yeah,
And I think we all, I mean, each of you grew up with certain religious beliefs or not, right? But I think what I loved about what Gerald said is Buddha, Allah, God, Creator. I mean, it's all the same, right?
Yeah.
And we've siloed it and competed, and there's one right religion, and
sickening.
it's. I think this whole spiritual movement is all about we're human beings first and foremost.
I
right?
loved what my brother just said of the spiritual lenses, because the world before pre-COVID was wearing rose-colored glasses, thinking it was all rainbows and sunshines and unicorns.
Puppy dogs and unicorns.
And that, yeah, and then, well, no, that's not. There's a part of life that can be real, but you have to be connected and in balance, emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, right? So, and COVID took those rose-colored glasses off and put spiritual glasses on, spiritual lenses in, right? So.
And prior to COVID, it was very much, like you were saying, rose-colored glasses. I think I'm probably saying the same thing as you, but we say it in different ways, which is what we enjoy so
Yeah.
much. But so the whole world was so, I know for me, I can only speak from my own experience, but that feeling of just constant and there was no stop. It just didn't stop, and I never even thought about it. I didn't even think about it. That's what you do. You just keep going. Another tour, another record, another this. You just keep and meanwhile I'm like 39, 40, 41. Is this ever gonna end? Not 30. Yeah. Now 60. Goddamn two. What? And I hit the wall. Boom. COVID. Whomp. Like
Forced you to stop.
and then you hit real hard like an egg, and then you just go. Oh heck! Now who am I? Now what do I do? Now where are we going? What is this? First of all, I went into massive, like just researching everything. What's going on? And then it was just like, stop it. This is driving you more insane than anything else. Clear it out. Anyways, what I was trying to say was, prior to the COVID thing, was that sort of intense material thing. That stop, that massive dead stop, is where either, like you said, George, either we went right down the rabbit hole in a bad way, or we went, wait a minute, there's got to be a better way to do this. That was the gift.
I had one of the artists that I know said to me, Gerald, when COVID happened, the first 3 months were the scariest for me. And I said, why, what happened? It wasn't COVID itself, this person said. It was the fact that I had to spend all this time by myself in my house. And I realized in that time, those 3 months, I knew why I traveled the world for over 30 years doing concerts, because I was running from myself, of what I had experienced, trauma, and I was forced to look at myself. And that was what scared me. It wasn't COVID, it was me.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Isn't it funny? It all comes back to healing. And it all comes back to healing this first. And that's what Yeshua said. One of the big things. Second commandment of the big two. Love your neighbor like you love yourself. And the healing that we neglect to do on ourselves, most of us, me especially, not picking on anybody, but that healing, if you don't do that, then what do? You lash out at others around you that you love because you aren't healing yourself. And that's what the ancestor said to me. We must revisit the pain to heal. And once I listened and did that, it was instant too. It wasn't like, put a Band-Aid on and pull it off and put more polysporin on. It was like, boom, healed.
So this is a perfect segue to my next question.
I knew, that's why we
So
threw it
now
out
that
there
things
for you.
have started up,
Set it up for you.
Gerald set it up, perfect.
it's perfect. So how do you continue to stay grounded and practice your ongoing spiritual life amidst your busy career and tour, etc.? George first, and then Sass.
Yeah, I just remembered something from last night. Remember I said I couldn't remember things?
Yeah.
And it was grounding. It was all about grounding. And the more we go down the spiritual rabbit hole, the more vital it is to keep, and they showed me, keep that foot in the ground. Do not let yourself come out of Mother Earth. There you go. Yeah, it was.
That just got grounded.
That just got grounded, and it's vital that everything stays connected to Mother Earth, to the laws of nature. And if it doesn't, the poop's going to hit the fan hardcore more than it ever has. And last night, that's just
so true.
I couldn't remember parts of last night, and that was one of them.
And it fell on one light, is what it said.
Light.
Yeah, and then our logo, grounded.
It grounded itself. That's powerful. Wow.
I almost don't want to put it back up. I'm like,
I know
"Oh,
you
really?"
do. I'm like, maybe we should just. No, it's sideways.
But that was the thing about grounding. When we were driving here this morning, I was telling my sister there's two types of people getting sick right now. The ones that are getting sick are the ones who forgot to do the work or didn't want to do the work or refused to do the work, refused to this new awakening that's happening. And they're getting, unfortunately, leaving the planet, losing their mind, or getting physically sick. The other ones that are getting sick are the chosen few, the elect, the sacred ones who had made an agreement to help their fellow human being at this time. But they're getting sick because their body is healing and their body's letting go of what it is that they've been holding on to all this time. And so that's why they're getting sick. They're getting sick to get
Detoxing.
purged. Yeah, detoxing.
Oh, detoxing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Interesting.
Sorry,
So,
Dr. Laura, that just freaked me out really good there.
yeah, no kidding.
I'm
Grace.
like, oh.
No kidding. So how do you stay grounded, Sass, now that things have started up again for you?
I use actual physical postures and stuff. Like I'll actually do. I'll also do it through breathing and thinking. Bringing light through the crown into the feet and into the ground. But there's several physical postures that you can use that I can show you later. I'm not going to show you right now because I'm holding my microphone because I didn't want it attached to here because then my hair would have gotten in the way. We got to be serious here, people, and we're down to earth. But anyway, so there's a couple of physical postures, and it really, really helps. That's also part of what our LiLoHia thing is giving people some, tips and tricks that we've discovered as far as like physical things you can do, things you can say, things you can think of, stuff like that. It's very, very important to have tools, you know, and not every tool will work for every person. So, you know, these are just ideas and suggestions.
And I love that we're going to share so many practical ones for people.
I'm into that.
Right? Because I think sometimes spirituality is, woo,
Yeah, it can
what
get a
is
little-
that? Right?
Well, that's exactly
It's
what
what
you're
you
saying.
do on a daily and weekly basis. It's the habits and the practices, which will look different for George, different for Sass. And Gerald, how do you stay grounded daily?
Well, daily, getting up in the morning and saying my first thought is say, Creator, thank you. I'm grateful for another day in this world, and that's where I ground even when I'm walking during the day and so much is going on or coming at me, I just say, Creator, I love you. Creator, I love you. Creator, I love you. And it's just that. It's just the energy shifts, right? But this thing is still been on this journey for 31 years
I'm watching
spiritually.
you,
When
yeah.
this happened, it's just, wow. That is a form of grounding for me because it makes me realize there's something bigger at play here. And the Creator that I know is called the Great Mystery because it works in mysterious ways. That everything happens for a reason. This happened for a reason to show my brother. I love seeing the look in his eyes. He says, wow, I just realized what it was I seen last night in the dreamscape. That's beautiful, right? So that's really what, when you talk about spirituality, sister, it's that spirituality is not something that you put in a box. And that it's wide open, it's infinite, and you know, spirit will come at you when you least expect it. And that's, yeah.
That's so well put. So my final question is, what do you hope this LiLoHia project and collaboration will teach people? So what is your hope from it? We'll start with you, Gerald.
Having our brother George Candy and say I want to be a part of what you and Sass are doing with the LiLoHia, because we want to be able to bring all these artists together who get it, who are willing to get it, and who want to be bringing that love, light, gratitude, and healing to the world. It's already happening, and I would be honored if you would join us, brother, on this magic school bus that we're on, because the Creator's driving this bus. We're just along for the ride, right? So.
Like I said, you're stuck with me, bud. I'm like luggage. You can lose me, but you'll find me.
So that's what I for LiLoHia is that, you know, it's just we don't know what it is, what it looks like, but we know we're ready to receive it, to accept it, and to walk with it and run with it if we have to. No.
Beautifully put.
It's like a movement. You know what I mean? It's like for all of us to start coming together to do our healing, to help each other through it. You know, we've been so isolated from each other forever. It feels like even when we were born, it was like that. You know, it was, and then it just has become more and more and more and more with the, you know, the technology and everything like that, and then of course the sickness, and just the whole idea that it's time for us to come together as human beings again, share our knowledge, our wisdom. Nobody has to take it if they don't want to. Turn it off or not, you know, and especially like with artists, because when we get up on a stage, you know, and there's people there, we're using sound, which is a very intense healing frequency. It can also be used to be the opposite, you know what I mean? But it's such a powerful thing, sound, and especially musical sound, right? So it's that's a very big part of it for me, anyway.
Wonderful. And you, George, what are you hoping this collaboration can teach humanity?
I think this is more than a collaboration. I think this is the beginnings of the new hospital.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. I think where people are lost, I mean, the Creator made all of us, so it's not like He made me to be lost in the darkness and that's the way I'm going to live my whole life. The free will He gave me, that He gave you, that He gave all of us, was to have that free will to take the challenge, to follow, to know that there's more than getting up and going to work and paying money for this and buying this and having these material possessions. And I think what we have to, in this new world that's happening, I think we all have to be aware and put our egos and our opinions that society have dictated us to have, put them aside and open our minds and our hearts to what's coming. And that this life is very short. Like, I'm sure, talk to anybody right now that have a week to live. They'll tell you how short this life is, but that's because it's not meant to be long. Eternity is long. So how about let's start working on what eternity might look like for each other and helping each other. And so I don't see it as a movement as much as it is a movement. I see it as an actual physical hospital where people can come and go, look, I don't know, I have buddies that are like, I don't know what you're talking about. I've never known God. I've never had religion. I've never had faith. I don't know any of that stuff. This is how I was raised. Well, that's good, and I respect your life as you respect mine, but set it aside, open your mind and your heart, because you know when you know. And when you hear Gerald talk and talk about the ways for thousands of years, like, it's fascinating. There's something inside you that goes, what is that? I feel that. What just twinged inside my heart? What feeling is that? Well, that's what it is, because the Creator put that in you. I call it the Creator's magnet. He put the magnet in us, and that magnet it only draws to the Creator. It's the only thing that draws it in. I've talked to atheists, and the first thing they want to talk about is Yahweh.
Wow.
Why? Why is the first thing an atheist wants to talk about is God? Because that magnet is constantly there. And as much as they want to disprove the Creator's authority and position, it's the first thing they want to go to. And I've been a very strong Christian man my whole life, and I'm so grateful for my Savior. And even just at church just last week, 200 people came to the altar. Out of, like, the place is full, 700 and some people. 200 people came to the altar because they're lost. They want spiritual help, and I'm like, okay, no, we don't see that. What's happening? Something is happening, and the LiLoHia Project, to me, is going to be that hospital that's going to be a help for those people that are lost, but they know inside they need to find something.
Wow.
Sorry, I talked a lot on that one.
I love that. Keep talking. It's good.
Well, we are going to keep talking through a series of informative episodes that cover a range of spiritual healing modalities, habits, messages, techniques. So we're going to have a whole series that will follow. And I'm excited to have more discussions with you all. This is just the beginning, folks.
Yeah. Thank goodness it's a series, because we wouldn't fit it all into We'd be sitting there for days.
We can't shut up.
Exactly. But it's been my absolute pleasure. I mean, I've learned from all of you today, and I think this is really powerful. Science can't explain that, but I know
Well, we can.
in my heart that was something. So, thank you for being here. Thank you for those supporting the LiLoHia Project.
Awesome.
Including Ben Clayton,
Yes.
doing the audio and sound, and
Andrea
Burke.
Andrea
social
Burke.
media.
And Darryl?
doing social
And
media
Darryl
support.
Lindenbach.
And
Yeah.
then we have a song, which is Something's Happening Here. What it is ain't exactly clear. But
I remember that song.
yeah, but that's like our theme song.
Your theme song.
Oh, that is the theme song. There you go.
So thank you, everybody, in spirit from all of us to all of you. Namaste. Hi.
No matter what we lost, we make it right. I feel a change is coming. Let's see what love can be. It's gonna be all or nothing. Just believe till you see.
To subscribe to the LiLoHia Project and receive upcoming episodes, updates, and announcements, go to www.youtube.com/@LiLoHia Project. You can also find the LiLoHia Project on Twitter @LiLoHia Project, TikTok @LiLoHia Project, and Instagram @LiLoHia Project. Thank you for listening. Hi.
All or nothing. Just believe till you see.